And of course everyone's like, shake, shake. No. I'm the blank space girl, apparently.
All right, there we go.
That's the one that really, blank space bias girl for anyone who was playing that hashtag game this week. But I was so, like, completely, apparently singing my little head off and realized then, oh my God, I'm listening to Taylor Swift. And not listening, just singing. So I think she gets everyone.
She gets everyone.
Yes.
She is this she is Zool. She is this indomitable force that we will all eventually succumb to. All right, so I recognize it's not surprising that my reference to an overplayed Taylor Swift song is like 3 or 4 months out of date.
Right.
Because of the time difference. It takes longer for pop culture references to get to me. But I'm going to make the observation. So here, let me lay out what I know about Taylor Swift. And you can correct me if what I have gotten through my pop culture filter shield has been lost in translation. So she came out of the womb playing guitar, correct?
About, yeah.
Okay. She is 5 years old, 6?
She is now 25.
Okay, but she
Hence
looks...
the big, yes.
Okay.
But see, that's why she creeped me out initially, is because she is, in fact, 25 years old.
Okay.
But she looks like she's 12.
There's that.
And it's kind of, like, weird.
And she won her, her first 12 Grammys in preschool, right?
Correct.
She's unbelievably young.
And that's the thing is now, well, she's been country's biggest sweetheart forever. And now this 1989 album that she just put out, if we're allowed to call them albums anymore, I don't know how that works.
Which, honest to goodness, that's the year she was born,
correct.
Right?
Yeah, that's the whole point. Right, let that sink in. She was born in 1989. And so as part of this, she's decided to cross over, do more poppy songs on this particular album. And it's really good. And that's just frustrating because it's one of those things where I wanted to hate her. But the thing is, you can't. With the songs that she's putting out, they're catchy, they're good, they're clean. They may have innuendo, but as we've discussed, there's a big difference between innuendo and outuendo.
Yes. Right.
Culture. And then here's the best part, or worse, depending on how you fall. She's a really nice person. Apparently, she does amazing things for her fans. She actually, just over Christmas, you probably saw people talking about, she sent some of her fans Christmas gifts. Sometimes she showed up at places where she knew they were going to be. And then just this week, she had a fan that apparently, she gets lots of fan letters. I can't even imagine how she goes through them all. But she then proceeds to track down this fan and give her $1,989 to pay her student loan off. And it was the number of 1989, an entire gift box of Swifted sign things, Taylor Swift everything. So the fan, there's a YouTube video of it. I'm going to find it, put it up on our website, or I'm sorry, on Facebook. And you got to see it because, honest to God, this fan, first she sees that it's from Taylor Swift, freaks out. Then she sees the money and realizes what it's happening and just tears and whatever. How can you hate Taylor Swift?
Oh, I'll find a way. All right, so let me make an observation that it's not surprising the new album is taking off fantastically, and you said this is the most explicitly pop material we've heard from her. I remember during the whole controversy of Blurred Lines last year that somebody had said that the secret to a really good song is that the first time you hear it, you feel like you've heard it before.
Yes.
And in the case of Mr. Thick, apparently you had. Gay. But to give credit where credit is due, obviously artists sample and all that stuff. They listen to someone. People had said that somebody I used to know was either the best Sting or Peter Gabriel song in a really long time.
Oh, wow.
Look at me dropping the pop culture music references.
Look at you.
But my observation about the one that really had launched this new album, Shake It Off. Undoubtedly, people started humming it. They started singing it, other than the lawsuit from Tony Basil. And I realized that for having
that song had significance to me.
I
was
going to say,
imagine.
you have always been probably your least favorite song of all time, or just an overplayed.
It's really up there.
Okay.
And it's funny because when I was younger, I actually enjoyed the Mickey song. And for those of you who didn't get the Tony Basil reference,
oh, Mickey, you're so fine.
Dave will put that music in.
Yeah, Dave, throw that one in.
Count on
Everybody needs to hear it at least 1 billion times in their life. And especially me. I have friends who still from college will call and leave me voicemails that start out, "Oh, Mickey, you're so fun. You're so fun. You blow my mind. Hey, Mickey."
You sing that very well at first.
And then there's usually there in the voicemail. So, again, these are people who have known me 20, 30 years. Mm-hmm. There you go.
If it really annoys you, Mickey, shake it off.
Oh.
I've got one criticism of the sweetness of Taylor Swift. She's really rough on ex-boyfriends.
I was going to say, I think she enters relationships just for the breakup, for the creative inspiration.
Dude, it works for her, though. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, here's the thing. Yes, she does write about all of her ex-boyfriends in detail, like to the point where you kind of feel like, oh my God, that relationship must have been horrible. But you have to give her credit because she at least writes it herself.
Yes, and I'm sure it's all personally inspired. I'm just saying Adele is telling her to get over it.
Get over it. You need to
Look,
get over it.
I got one album out of it.
Exactly.
It's time to move on.
Well, Adele's just jealous because she only got one album out of it.
That's right.
Taylor keeps going through different relationships in order to extend her career. Yeah. See, Adele got married. Screwed it all up.
Okay. In terms of personal songs, for my appearances on Hugh Hewitt, Hugh used to play "You Don't Mess Around with Jim."
That's a great one.
Which is a great one.
Croce.
Except it's a great song until you listen to the whole song and you find out what happens to Jim.
Yeah.
Jim dies in a terrible, violent death.
Which is sad.
There's a reason Hugh only plays the first part of that song.
Yes.
And I just have this terrible feeling if God forbid something terrible ever happens to me, they'll probably play that at my funeral.
Would you like that on record or no? Like these are things,
Well, ultimately, the lesson is you can mess around with Jim and win.
Yes.
Just not with Slim. Slim, you don't mess with that.
Slim is not a nickname.
Well, and the other thing about Taylor is, and again, bring it back to Taylor Swift because this is something that I've had to, the first step is learning to accept.
Denial, acceptance, bargaining.
Exactly. Yes. And right now I'm accepting, and taking that first step and understanding that apparently I'm going to like Taylor Swift music and things. And I'm going to like Taylor Swift, even if she kind of creeped me out initially. But, it's really nice to see people appreciate their fans. Did you hear what Peyton Manning did?
Yeah, he was terrible in that playoff game.
Okay, other than that. Off the field.
He made pizza.
Okay, yeah, God. Okay, other than 1,000
He has a head on Twitter.
Yes, he does. Shout out to Peyton's Head, my absolute favorite Twitter account. Everyone knows it, but just always feel the need to clarify. But here's what
Peyton
he did.
does a lot of things. What did he do, Mickey?
Yes, Peyton does do a lot of things. But Peyton got a fan letter, from a wife, and she and her husband were coming to one of the games and was hoping to maybe meet up with Peyton. The husband was returning a veteran. He was injured, but he had served in Iraq or Afghanistan or both. I'm not even sure. But I'll get the article and get it up on our Facebook page as well. But Peyton found out about this, and the thing about it is they didn't put a return address on it or any contact information. So Peyton had
We are an anonymous injured veteran.
Yeah, so Peyton had people track them down. It took 6 months.
Wow.
But he found them, and he went and saw them and got pictures and did the whole thing and whatever. But he did that. And, that's the kind of stuff that you just don't see enough of out of our celebrities, out of our – because I really consider Peyton a celebrity at this point. Yes, he's a quarterback, but he takes – No. He supersedes sports at this point.
He's a really successful pitchman who does some quarterbacking on the side.
Chicken parm, you taste so good.
I'm sure. Look, and the nice thing about being a major NFL superstar like Peyton Manning is that you have people who can do that sort of thing. So he doesn't have to take time away from his pizza management and quarterbacking.
Oh, yeah.
And when I say he has people, he has the third brother. Cooper, who's not doing anything. Cooper, go find this veteran.
But Cooper will always be the Manning's favorites because he gave them grandchildren first. So.
Okay, very good. Always an important criteria.
Yes, Archie will tell you that. Yeah.
I also have a suspicion that the third Harbaugh brother manages a flag football team that has Cooper Manning as the quarterback.
Oh, nice. Oh, all right. Yes, that is true. But are we going to go with 3 broke girls?
Well, along with the fourth amigo. Yes.
The fourth amigo.
And really the fifth stooge, if you remember.
Yes, and in my family, it'd be the third white girl.
There you go.
There you go.
Where all the white girls at?
Anyway, so we're having now added, to the world population and all these pop cultural references. We'll be right back after this discussing boy jobs and girl jobs and inevitably being accused of cisnormativeness. Keep it right here. I'm Jim Garrity with Mickey White.
I was promised flying cars. I don't see any flying cars. Why?
The Jim and Mickey Show with Jim Garrity and Mickey White.
It starts here with a lightly toasted bun. And then a pure beef hamburger. Sizzling hot. A slice of cheddar blend cheese. And some crisp, fresh lettuce. Then our own secret sauce. The club slice, toasted. Another hamburger. And a little more sauce just for good flavor. Crisp dill pickles and the sesame seed crown. This is the sandwich. McDonald's new Big Mac sandwich for the bigger than average appetite. McDonald's, you're going to play.
Welcome back to the Jim and Mickey Show. I'm Jim Garrity along with Mickey White. And Mickey had actually said to me, Jim, we just don't discuss housework on the show enough. And I was like, really? Really? But as a respectful co-host, why is housework on your mind now, Mickey?
Well, it's not so much, well, I guess it is housework, but it's more to the point of, I was having a conversation with some people on Twitter, and something that's been rolling around in my head is the idea of, in my house, I know you're shocked, I have many rules, and someday I'll write a book. It'll be called Mickey's Rules, and everyone should follow them and make me happy. But in my house, there are many rules, and a lot of the rules come down to like, oh, that's a boy thing or a boy job, and then there are girl jobs. Now, there are many more boy jobs in the house, I will admit.
Could you elaborate on what a boy job is and what a girl job is? Yeah. Just so angry listeners know exactly why to denounce you.
Yes,
and why.
Absolutely. Yeah. Boy jobs involve taking out the garbage. They involve opening up jars of salsa.
Tight jars. Yes, got that.
Tight jars. They involve they really pretty much anything outdoors unless it involves gardening. But the lawn work in general, as far as mowing the grass, clipping, that's definitely boy work. That's boy work.
And what is women's work? As by the way, Now is online too, and I can see them. They're unsheathing, scimitars.
Here's where it gets complicated in our house. Because a lot of the women's work, I also think, should be really unisex.
Actually, many men are saying, aha, and that's feminism.
Yes, exactly. And, and there's something to be said for a nice cleaning lady. I'm just saying.
There are certain, so maybe, the establishment Republicans are correct. There are some jobs Americans won't do.
Right, exactly. Especially women who have to work.
All right.
You go home and you're like, the last thing I want to do is clean. And so with more women working, I think that there is probably a market for the housekeeping and house cleaning, look, people, we're not getting live-in nannies here. We're getting people to come over and dust our house so it doesn't look filthy when our grandma stops by.
That's the real question. Is you want to time the cleaning lady's visit as close to the company coming over window as small as possible. As you're going through those list of jobs, spider killing.
Oh, definitely boy job.
I was going to say.
But I will absolutely kill a spider if it's threatening me, as in I know that Mr. Bias can't get to it before I can.
Okay, that spiders are covered under the stand your ground law, that you are allowed to use deadly force.
Oh, I always use deadly force.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I am not let's put it on a piece of cardboard and take it outside and dust it off into the yard. Dead. Smashed, dead, as quickly as possible.
So people don't realize that my house in Authenticity Woods, Virginia, is part of a national spider preserve. But they're and we'll wake up and be covered in them. None of them have been radioactive yet. I exaggerate slightly. There's a lot of spiders in my house. I live in the woods.
You'll find those outside of the city.
Yeah, and so my people have told me, "Oh, you don't kill them. Let them live there. They take care of the other bugs." I'm not convinced. I'm not. They've really clearly reached a detente with the ants. Mm-hmm. They have not gotten into. I'm like, hey, if you guys did a better job on the ants, I'd be a little less inclined to squish you.
But no, they slack at their job, and I have been told many times that they kill other bugs as well. And then I'm like, but the other bugs don't really bother me. I don't like spiders.
Yeah, well,
so,
there's that. You know,
it's like an ant. Yes, I'll kill an ant, but it's not going to freak me out and send me across the room.
We had a nursery rhyme when I was a kid in Australia. I don't know if you guys had this in America or not. A little old lady. I know an old lady who swallowed a fly. I don't